Welcome to Soundscape Crusaders,
a music discovery podcast where we pair music with media.
Join co-hosts Nate and Levi on this journey
as we dive deep and examine one song an episode, discuss what we love about it,
and then pair it with something that emotionally and tonally coincides with the song.
Okay, I always get munchy around this time. So.
Dude, that's one thing. Like, I hate eating bananas in front of people. Like, I just not a big fan. Yeah,
no,
it's just I don't know. It's too phallic.
Glizzies and shit like that. In front of people, are you?
Man,
Okay.
I will eat a banana in front of anybody.
It's only weird if you make a weird Levi. Okay, so Preston, this past week, I was babysitting a dog that was a husky. And the last night I was there, I was staying over at this house and I was sleeping in one of the rooms and it was like 2 a.m. and I woke up and the dog, it's a husky. So you know what a husky looks like. This dog was just staring at me in the doorway and I felt like I was like McCready in The Thing. I'm like, I've seen this movie. Get the fuck back.
You ain't you did.
You ain't gonna assimilate me, bitch. How y'all doing? Everything good?
Good. I mean, we just had an hour and a half long Predator talk, so
well, we don't,
better be feeling good.
Oy vey.
We got a whole show to do. Welcome back, Preston. Third leg Crusader Preston is back on the show.
Our third leg is erect, boys.
We're never gonna give up the nope. Dick jokes.
It's always going to be dick jokes when you come through, brother.
Yeah, I hope you don't secretly hate them.
If you do, let us
be
know.
Awkward.
We'll tone it down, bro.
We will stop.
I honestly, just knowing my persona, it's on brand.
Oh, man. Okay, well, this week, long story short, we recorded a whole ass episode, and due to several technical issues, we decided to just scrap it and re-record. But because of that, I couldn't pick the same song because that ruins the whole point of the game, right? So we're coming back with a new song that I came with. This time I'm picking, and I'm really excited to share with you. It's a country song. Preston, from what I know, based on our past conversations, you aren't the biggest fan of country, correct?
Thanks, no, I actually really like country music, but I don't like the contemporary stuff.
Right.
I'm not. Let me put it this way, and I probably should have prepared this before you even asked me that. I'm not the world's biggest fan of the Nashville sound.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because there's a whole documentary that a whole documentary series that Dave Grohl did. I forget what the name of it is, but he went from city to city. Nate,
Sonic Highways.
Thank you, Sonic Highways. So one of the episodes is about Nashville, and he goes to Nashville and he interviews Dolly Parton, Steve Earle, Zach Brown. Great episode.
Yeah,
and that episode, watching that episode in college, revealed to me both what I like about country and what I don't like about it. I don't like the corporatization of country. Like, I like the fact that Willie Nelson was writing all of these lyrically complex songs for the likes of Patsy Cline, George Jones, and people like that. That if you go back to Crazy, for example, that's actually, in terms of composition, that's actually a pretty complex song for a 50s pop standard.
Yeah.
But country gets more interesting to me when dudes like that grew their hair out, started publicly smoking weed instead of just doing it behind the scenes, grew out their beards in Nate and Levi style, and just started making bomb rock music in the country vein. And I like that stuff. And of course, we can make jokes about the Florida Georgia Lines of the world. I don't think we need to address that. I think y'all are both.
Yeah, we're all on the same page there.
Yeah.
Yeah. In light of trying to stay positive, I'll refrain from talking about what I dislike about country, which is mostly top 40 type, pandering country is what I'll call it.
For my horses.
Right. And instead I'll talk about more what I do like, which is more in the vein of, like you said, more rockish, more folkish, and just more honest. And that's the problem that I have with most top 40 country is it's a product. It's not made from someone's experiences or someone's story that they want to tell. It's just not honest to me, and I can't get behind that. And anyway, that's all I'll say in the negative side. I try to not be negative. I don't like doing that.
It's fine.
But Nate, I know we've talked about some country together. You know, our last episode was over Dwight Yoakam, and we talked a little bit about that last week. Great song, love that. We also are big fans of Sturgill Simpson. I know Preston is a big Sturgill fan. Yeah. Which have y'all listened to? We're gonna have to cover him soon.
Yeah.
His sound is so crazy because it goes from like country western sounds with steel guitars.
It's my son, it's all been done. Someday gonna wake up old and gray.
To Sound and Fury, which is like a grunge blues. The whole
He's got some
album,
progressive in him as well.
the whole album has an anime visualizer album on Netflix, like, and it's incredible. It's awesome. Which is not what you would expect from someone when you hear some of his more country western songs. That it's like, oh yeah, did you know that guy has a anime visual album? It's like, no. No.
See, I didn't know about the visual part.
It's
You need to
cool.
watch
I knew
it,
of
dude.
the album.
Check it out, bro.
Will do.
It's really cool.
It's on Netflix. It's called Sound and Fury.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is badass. Like, dude, if
We're
you're
just
ever
like hyping it up, bro. It's good.
if you ever want to chill and just like
No,
watch
that
some
sounds
Sound
cool.
and Fury, yeah, it's
bro,
great.
vibe out to it. It's dope.
But anyway, I'm going to get right into the episode because I want to share this with y'all. I don't know if y'all know it. This guy isn't like, he's not unpopular. He's pretty popular. He's had some music in popular Western media, movies, TV shows. I'm not picking the song that tends to be in those, which is...
I wonder if I know who this is.
if you do, I'll be ecstatic.
I'll be curious if it's either Towns Van Zandt or John Prine.
No, neither.
Okay.
So
Hey, both great. Both are fucking awesome. I love Prine, and Van Zandt is amazing too. Sorry, I
I've
just
heard
wanted to
Van
get that.
Zandt.
I was gonna say there's a really good Towns Van Zandt record, and I can't remember the name of it. I think it's For the Sake of the Song. It's his debut record, and it's really fucking good. There's a song on there called Waiting Around to Die. That's really fucking good.
Go sneaking down the hall like an old gray cat in winter.
Yeah, Towns Van Zandt's the man, bro.
But okay, this guy, the song that was in a lot of media, like Hell from High Water, and I believe Yellowstone, his song Over the Blacktop, which was huge. I'm not picking that song. I'm picking the first song that I ever heard from this guy, which is my favorite thing ever. It's more in line of a story instead of a personal thing. It's narrative. And it's called Kate McCannon by Colter Wall. So
okay. I
Have
know
you
the
heard this?
name. I know the name, but he's one of those, like, when people are like, "Oh, I don't like country," they're like, "Oh, you need to listen to Chris Stapleton, Sturgill Simpson, Colter
Right.
Wall." Like, that name comes up. It's
Right.
one I've never listened to, but I know the name for sure.
I might have talked about him last week. I might have. So click the link, zero out. Don't listen to it yet. We're going to listen to that, get this fresh reaction because Preston, it looks like you don't know who it is, right?
Is this song called Kate McCannon?
I've never heard this guy in my life. I've
Okay.
seen Hell or High Water, but I haven't seen the other stuff you're alluding.
Do you like
Okay.
Hell or High Water?
Oh, it's if it wasn't for The Nice Guys, it would be the best movie of 2016 in my opinion. I think it's phenomenal.
It's a really good movie. It's one of those movies I saw on a whim in the theater, and I like called my dad afterwards. I was like, "You need to see this movie. You're gonna love this movie."
Best Chris Pine performance
Easily.
by far.
Easily. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. On one. All right. 3, 2, 1.
When I first met Tom McCannon, I was working in the mine. He said he had himself a dark-haired daughter with long green eyes. And when she and I didn't meet, she was bathing in the creek.
First impressions before I
That
go into
was
it.
stellar. I'm saving that on my Spotify. Like seriously, that was awesome.
Check the whole album out because the whole album is great. Nate, have you heard this before?
I have not. It's really good. I'm kind of a sucker though for these. They're I think I don't know if they're referred to as murder ballads, but
Yeah.
it kind of echoed the same sentiment as like Lead Belly's "Where Did You Sleep Last Night," which was made famous by Nirvana back in '94 on their Unplugged record. It also reminds me of Nick Cave's record in the '80s called "Murder Ballads," which had a song like Henry Lee, "Where the Roses Grow," stuff like that, which is all about scornful lovers murdering.
Yeah.
Getting their revenge on their lovers or whatever. I like kind of like what Preston echoed when you asked him what he thinks of country. I love the elements of slide guitar, and there's no fiddle in this one, but I like that. I just like that simplistic kind of acoustic guitar strumming, and I love his voice. His voice is so gruff, and it's not pretty boy Nashville voice. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's more genuine, especially with country. Like when you look at like Merle Haggard, Willie Nelson, you look at those guys, and even the guys like Sturgill Simpson and, maybe Stapleton, not so much, even though I do like his music. But Dwight Yoakam as well. Like they don't have like pretty boy voices.
Right.
They're not the voices you go on like America's Got Talent and like do well. But I
Yeah.
feel like that comes off as more genuine, especially with country when it's a genre that's all about hard labor out, on the farm.
Yeah.
So I think Colter Wall does a really good job of embracing those elements and putting it to modern standards. Like the production on this thing is fucking sharp. It's
Yeah.
crisp. Every note sounds so good. And then at the end when, he finds his lover, Kate McCannon, with someone else, and like there's
That
this huge
ramp up.
crescendo. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's this huge crescendo of just noise, and I think it works so well because in this narrator's mind, he's getting heated. His blood's getting like really hot, and I think that the music echoes that sentiment so well.
That part gives me chills every single
Beautiful
time.
song,
I get
absolutely,
chills.
absolutely phenomenal. I love it. This is
And
great, dude.
It's a simple song, but like you said, it really does an amazing job of storytelling.
Yes.
And his voice, while it's not traditionally, a singer's voice, it has that emotion and like he tells the story through his voice in such a way that this is an old man in prison telling you why he's there.
Maybe on death row. Maybe he's about to get
Yeah.
an electric chair or something.
Yeah. You want me to blow your mind right now? I don't know if either of you know this. Right now, this dude is 27. When he recorded this, he was 22.
Good God.
What?
How long has he been
Yeah.
smoking?
It's
Seriously.
nuts, right? I
Yeah.
thought this was like some 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
When I first heard it, I was like, okay, this is some
look at
70-year-old man
look at
that's
that
been
album cover though.
Yeah.
He looks rugged. He looks gruff.
Yeah.
He doesn't
and then
look like he's in his 20s.
yeah, and then you look up like what he looks
He's
like
Western
in,
Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian. He's not like this sounds like pure American type shit, but then you look at
Oh, he looks like a baby. Yeah.
Yeah, he has like a little
he's-
baby face.
He is a baby face.
Like,
he looks like a little baby.
That's why he hides behind that beard.
Yeah.
Literally, because he has
Well,
that
that
beard.
works.
That's so interesting.
Like that link I
Okay,
just
thank you
sent,
for
you see it, and he's just some ginger Canadian kid.
Honestly, bro, who you know what? I don't fucking care. This song slaps.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter because he transforms himself into this person, and I'm just amazed. Yeah, go ahead.
In the article that you shared, because what I was going to say after Nate was done was he sounds a lot like Steve Earle to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steve
like
Earle's
Guitar Town, Copperhead Road, like he sounds like that era.
Right.
And so to see that Steve Earle himself praised him, I think is super dope because literally that's who his voice reminds me of.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so discombobulated right now that this Ed Sheeran ass motherfucker is the vocalist of this song.
So
Yeah.
Preston, just from like the way you're like praising Steve Earle, which I agree, every sentiment you've just said about him, I think he's phenomenal. You like outlaw country, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Best kind.
It is the best kind. Steve Earle, bro. Steve Earle's one of those bands that like would play in my house all the time. My dad loved. Oh yeah, he's seen him 5 times in concert. He loves.
Your parents are the
They're
people, dude.
they're fucking
Yeah,
nuts, bro. Like, how did these hippie
know.
ass motherfuckers have children, bro? Like, they're not really hippies.
No, but to get back on topic though, the song, I love how much like when Nate said, I love murder ballads as well. And I think what's cool about murder ballads is that they can be transposed in any genre. Like when I hear the phrase murder ballad, actually the first song that comes to my head is Delilah by Tom Jones. I don't know if you've heard that song ever, Levi, but I'm
I've
pretty
listened
sure-
to Tom Jones, but I don't know song from song. Unfortunately,
that's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay. But that's one of the classic popular murder singles that I think of when I hear the phrase. This one, I like how it sounds dark and elegiac, and I love the gradual incline of it. Like I love how it progresses. And I like the width this guy exhibits. I think a lot of good country songwriting is rooted in that blue collar folksy tradition.
yeah,
And from the first verse where he describes himself looking outside, I believe he described himself looking outside prison bars. That might have been another character.
yeah. He says the raven stands outside my prison window. I think it's the first
that makes perfect sense then. And to come all the way home to find your woman with some other guy after you go through such austere conditions, I think is very fascinating. And I'm curious to get you guys' take on this because something Nate mentioned that really struck a chord in me, pun intended, was that country is at its best when it's rooted in that blue collar tradition, hardworking labor, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, why is it that it's important for us? Because I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm curious, why are we like this about country, but not like that necessarily about other genres?
Oh, fuck Drake. That dude did not grow up in the fucking hood. Fuck him.
You know what? That's a good point, and I think that's
This
an
is
important
interesting
thing.
conversation.
I think it's all about who you're pretending to be or who you're presenting yourself to be.
If you're fake, and if you feel genuine, if your music and the way you're expressing your art feels genuine, like, well, let's take this into example. I love CCR, but to me, they don't get a pass. They're pretty boys that grew up in like California. They didn't grow up in the Bayou. They didn't grow up in any of that. John Fogerty's from California. He's from the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like, those guys were pandering in a way. Granted, I think they made great music, but,
Yeah, and I feel like you hear things like that about other artists. Maybe it's more critical when it is country. But yeah, like if you had me, East Texas ass white boy, and I started making music about, being from Compton or something, you would call me out, like I can't even say lit without it feeling wrong.
Levi's white ass, like,
yeah,
fucking gang banging in Compton. I think I'd love to see that movie. Like a Training Day type shit, bro.
Bro,
White boy
even
red.
on our episode with Trey and Aaron, I couldn't bring myself to end the episode by calling them bruh nice and pretty boy Aaron, because it just sounds weird as fuck coming out of my mouth. It just doesn't register. But it's funny that you bring this up, because one of the things that I came across while researching about Colter Wall, there's not like a ton, but one funny thing that has happened is that Joe Rogan reached out to him to come on his podcast, and he declined to be on the podcast because he works on a farm every summer, and he doesn't. He's like his manager or whatever was like, yeah, he's out working on the farm all summer, so he won't be available for like press or anything until he's done with that for the summer.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So he's like,
He's actually like living that life.
right.
Then that's like super. I think going back to your question, Preston, I think because of a lot of country is rooted in those people that were working like out in the farms and stuff. Like take Merle Haggard, that dude, like he was in prison. He saw Johnny Cash play at Folsom.
Right.
You know, like that
nuts.
to me is the most blue collar, genuine type feeling. That would be my assumption as to why we're so critical of country. Also, because like Luke Bryan is not interesting. You know, like that shit's not interesting to me because
No, I agree.
that's super pandering. I feel like.
Yeah, you just know, like I was talking about earlier, you know when someone's being dishonest. And even though, you know, this song is about a guy who's in prison telling someone about why he's in prison, right? Like he's like, oh yeah, I killed my wife. And it's like, that's, Colter Wall didn't do that, right? But he created this character, and he's telling it with such conviction that it feels very real, and that's what's important, you know. And you
Definitely
can see the
makes
same
you
thing in
feel.
films and stuff, like when someone doesn't have conviction about it.
Well, Chris Pine actually talked about that doing Hell or High Water. I forget where he originates, but he's definitely not from the South. But of course, he had to do a Texas accent, a West Texas accent specifically. He talked about how when a lot of actors do accents, which he's done in his career before. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie Smoking Aces, like he's playing the stereotype of a hillbilly.
Yeah.
Deliberately so, because that movie is meant to be high octane and campy. Hell or High Water is not. It feels like this song. It feels
Agreed.
it feels grungy. It feels like these characters are lived in. Literally, the whole reason why those protagonists pull that heist is because they literally want to pass the money down to their generations. Because even though those are young guys that Ben Foster and Pine are playing, they feel themselves dying, and that's why the juxtaposition between them and Jeff Bridges is so fascinating and so poignant in that film.
Wow. Yeah.
In contrast, though, Colter Wall is clearly young, visibly, but he sounds like an old man who's recanting the things that he did in his past to get him to where he is. And death and murder, demise, comeuppance, those are such common tropes in Wild West media, or media that riffs on the Western.
Yeah.
And I think that's why his music probably fits that stuff like a glove. Because, I mean, just if the album sounds any modicum like this track, which I'm assuming it does, then I suspect there to be a lot of skeletons in the closet that are unearthed. A lot of his candor coming through in other characters that he creates. I mean, this song is just it's funny in parts. It sounds like very dark final theme music.
Yeah.
And it just sounds right with everything that you and you guys have talked about. I wish I had more words to say about it, but I just think it's just a rock solid track that I just am enamored with, and I'm super happy that you shared it with us. It's a real gift, seriously.
This is a good song.
It's hard to really say a ton about it, because it's in all honesty, it's a very simple song. Like
It explains itself.
Yeah, and
Which is what country should be. Like, I don't go to country for Jesus. I don't go to country for MF Doom type of multi-syllabic
right.
deconstructing was like the appeal is, to me, this isn't country, but if we're talking about the folk tradition, like that's Bill Withers. Like Bill Withers is R&B of the folk tradition. Like he's from West Virginia coal mines, and you feel that through, especially that first album of his, where it's very stripped down. I think this track is more polished than Bill Withers' early stuff, but that's the charm. Is it feels like a man taking a break from his factory job to just play a tune on a guitar and tell you about his life, or an anecdote of his life. That's what Colter Wall symbolizes. I think it speaks to the amazingness of music, honestly, and how sometimes rawness and emotion is really all you need on a track.
Yeah. And a lot of the songs in this album, like I highly recommend listening to the whole album, are very acoustic. He leaves in the imperfections. You can hear, his fingers moving across the guitar, and it just makes it feel like someone's sitting down next to you and singing to you. And that's a very special thing in the age of overproduced music. I love this song, and I'm very happy y'all like it. Colter Wall, it's funny that Nate mentioned, those rock murder ballads, because if you look at his kind of comeuppance, he started playing his music because he liked AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, and then he decided to become a singer-songwriter once he heard Bob Dylan's "Don't Think Twice, It's All Right." So like none of those are country songs. It's a very rock oriented upbringing, but then he
makes it his own voice.
Yeah, and then he George Jones, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Hank Williams, Townes Van Zandt,
also all great.
Yeah,
They're all great.
All people that he cites as influences. So
I believe it.
And you can hear it. You really can. And like, it's so funny to me that Nate mentioned, like, out of all of the murder ballads that are country, Nate mentioned the more rock type stuff. And it's like, you can hear that deep in there because it's very prominent.
I would recommend, man, Nick Cave's Murder Ballads. I don't think it came out in the 80s. I think it was like 95, 96. But it's all...
Love Nick Cave.
Every single song is about like scorned lover, murder type shit, and it's all great.
Yeah.
I have a pick. I'm ready, man.
I got my pick too. What about you, Preston? Are you ready?
I got mine. I
all
definitely
right.
have mine.
I'm going last.
It's your week. You go last.
Since it's my pick.
Do you want to keep the third leg thing up and go from like right leg, third leg, left leg kind of thing? Put Preston in the middle again.
Preston.
Sure. I have a trailer. If you want me to go first, I can do it.
Doesn't matter to me.
Perfect. So this is kind of a spiritual inspiration for this song. I think I was initially tempted to go more on the nose with this one.
Mm-hmm.
But the more and more we kept talking about the song, and the more it kept resonating with, I've talked a lot about how the only thing I probably love more than Western movies are Western movies that aren't traditionally set in that time. And Colter Wall got me thinking about that the more we kept digging into him, because he's very displaced in terms of what we think of as the diaspora of country music. He's Canadian. He's not the bell bottoms. What's that nigga's name? Brad Paisley. That guy. I know some people like him, but I've never listened to him, and I doubt he's as good as Colter Wall. So
he's not.
He's not.
I highly doubt that.
He's not, bud. You're right.
But it got me thinking about. So the movie I picked is not about a guy so angry at his wife that he kills her. In fact, it's the opposite. What I picked is a film that I know I said before I was going to pick a movie that y'all had seen, but literally I'm not trying to come on y'all's show being a hipster. These are movies that come into my brain because of the songs that y'all listen. I promise you. This is what happened.
Do you know we haven't seen it already?
I'd be surprised y'all had.
It's an assumption. Are you assuming on our podcast?
You're right.
You're probably right, but
Yeah, we're both not gonna.
every movie Preston's come on with, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah,
another
it's-
one I haven't
shit.
seen.
It's the same with every podcast Preston releases. I'm like, for once, I would like to have seen whatever he's talking about.
You haven't seen Lawrence of Arabia?
I haven't. No. No, I haven't. I know. And the runtime, it's the runtime thing, and
Dude.
and Preston talked me out of it, and I think I'm gonna have enough time
I'm
to.
sad.
I
yeah.
understand. I get it, dude.
It's
Yeah.
a hefty boy. He's a hefty
yeah.
boy.
But anyway,
I do. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm curious to
So
see
the
what
movie-
Preston's going to bring.
So the movie I picked is set in San Antonio, and it stars one of the cast members. I believe he's actually in The Dark Knight Rises. It stars William Devane as a Vietnam War veteran who comes back home to all these accolades, and he comes back home to his wife and a strange son who hasn't seen him since his son was born. And through just one conversation and dialogue, he realizes, "Oh, you've been sleeping around with another guy. Wow." And there's a scene in the first act alone where he literally meets and shakes hands with the guy who's been fucking his wife while he's been away. And it is a very
Man.
serious drama that progresses, that automatically escalates whenever people break into his home. They rate him of his awards that he won from the war. They stick his hand into a dishwasher and they mangle his hand beyond all reason and kill his son and his wife. And so the rest of the movie is a revenge thriller about how he puts a claw on his slain, mangled hand. He hits up his old war buddy, played by an actor who you're going to see in this trailer, and they go on a revenge spree. Let me.
What's
get
the name?
It's. Have y'all ever heard of a movie called Rolling Thunder?
Sounds familiar. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it though. The claw thing the disposal thing rung a bell for a
Yeah.
half second, but let's watch the trailer.
Got it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
He's got a whole bag of silver dollars, and if I don't get him, he's gonna die.
No, don't. Please don't.
Wish you could remember.
Is that Tommy Lee Jones?
A face, an accent.
Yes.
I can't.
Can't just let it slide, Major. They don't have
God, look at how
any
young
right
he
to
was.
live.
Holy shit.
There's a
man.
storm brewing in this man. They took his arm. They took his family and his soul. His anger is building, and it's going to explode. Now, from Paul Schrader, the author of Taxi Driver, comes a new and shattering film about a man poised on the brink of violence. Rolling Thunder, starring William Devane as Charles Rain. He has a purpose. He has a plan. It's only a matter of time.
I found them. Who? The man who killed my son? I'll just get my gear.
Oh,
There's the
shit.
4 that
That was
came
awesome.
into my home,
That's badass as fuck.
and there's 8 or 10 others.
That's a true friend right there.
Yeah.
Just like, yep, I got you.
No hesitation.
Nope, like, I'll get my stuff.
Rolling Thunder.
Like he was
That's how you know.
just like,
That's a true ass
all
friend
right.
there.
let's go kill him. That's awesome. I want to watch that now. That looks great.
Yeah, that looks really good.
And it looks
It's a.
that grindhouse look you were talking about. I can definitely see like it has that gritty, like almost 16 millimeter type. I don't know what it was shot
Yeah.
on, but
Yeah, no, it really captures Texas, I think, with the approach to the tertiary characters with violence.
yeah.
There's actually a really cool third character, speaking of third legs, who comes in later into the film. And it is a pretty cool accentuation for Charles Rain as a character. Charles Rain being played by William Devane, the hero of the movie. I say hero in quotes.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is not heroic,
Right.
or heroic in any way or form. Any shape. We haven't had a Creed joke on this episode, so I just gotta say, the hero save us.
and I'm 6 feet from the edge.
I know that's
It wasn't-
Nickelback, but
see-
Nickelback and Creed.
Yeah, close enough. That song. Well, you know what? That song gets wasn't that the Spider-Man's? Yeah, that gets a pass.
But that wasn't Nickelback. I thought that was just Chad Kroger.
It was Chad Kroger and Josie Scott, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, those Spider-Man soundtracks, I know them hoes back to back.
Yeah.
Like, Vindicated. That was my shit when I
hoes.
was like 11, dude. Like, I thought it was emo and shit.
Dude, say
I thought
what?
it was Tobey Maguire.
See, regardless of your opinions of early superhero movies, them soundtracks, they had it.
Bops.
They had it. But
It's what's cool about the movie, in my opinion. It's written by Paul Schrader, who wrote Taxi Driver
Okay.
the year before.
Didn't he do
So it came
Raging
out-
Bull as well? Is that
Yes, he did.
okay?
A lot of Scorsese stuff,
Okay.
as well as just recently The Card Counter and First Reformed. These past several years, Light Sleeper in the 90s with Willem Dafoe, a really great, gritty noir film. And I think Rolling Thunder as a script is among his best work. In fact, I'll put it up there with Taxi Driver in terms of how dense it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he's doing with the journey of Devane's character is that he's using Christian iconography and literature to tie the symbolism of the awards that he wins. So it's gold coins that he's robbed of, and it's the loss of his gold coins, in addition to the death of his son, who didn't know him at all. That really enrages him and has him go on this really futile revenge spree. Like it's the anti-John Wick. In fact, it was one of the movies when Quentin Tarantino was writing the script for Kill Bill Volume 1. It was one of the movies that he played in front of a crowd in Austin, Texas, to see what beats play for a revenge storyline. I'm going to put the link in the chat to the trailer. It's one of my favorite movies, honestly. I saw it in high school. And it's been a movie that, like, I don't talk about it very often because it's very much a grindhouse culty kind of movie, but it's a grindhouse culty type of movie written by a master. I think the action is terrific. I think it's brooding. I think it's seething. And yet the movie is somehow entertaining to me, despite being about such dark stuff, like a war veteran who comes home and his wife is, and what the reason why it ties the song, in my opinion, is that it's almost a subversion of both the Western and of the song, where Colter Wall's character is reflecting outside prison bars about how he killed his wife and the events that led him up to that point. Willem Devane reflects back on his Vietnam War torture quite a bit, in a manner that's very similar to John Rambo in that first Blood movie, the original First Blood. And whereas Rambo survives at the end to go on to progressively dumber sequels, some of which I like, but they're dumber, much dumber.
Right.
William Devane, I'm not going to give anything away because you genuinely don't know how the movie ends, and that's part of what's brilliant about it. The way the movie closes and ends the situation that him and his cohort they get into, you genuinely don't know what's going to happen. And it is this anti-Western, this raw, seething treatise on revenge, how futile it is, the way that America treats veterans, and how at the end of the day, you're going to look back at what fucked you up and it's going to make you into the monster that you are today. So it's a very dark pick that is probably unlike anything I've ever picked on this podcast, but I think it's just a brilliant. And I know, like, Nate not so much, but I know Levi is at this point in his life not super into like the nihilistic genre film.
Let's go.
I can still get into it. I mean, I love me a good revenge movie. I love revenge. Like, so that
yeah,
dude, nothing's better than someone like a good guy getting, like, having everything go wrong and him just being like, all right, well, yeah, now, like, and you as the audience are like, man, I just want him to just mess them up, and he messes them up, you know. And you just get that.
You just became one of the characters in Rolling Thunder. Just like, I just want Tommy Jones mess them up.
Right.
Oh, darn it!
I'll get my gun.
That's really what happens. Let me tell you, revenge. This movie is so good. It is so, like, someone. I'm pretty sure someone gets like their balls like blown up by a double rifle.
Oh.
So yeah, it is, and there's a gnarly car chase. It is everything that you want out of a 70s grindhouse movie, except a good script. It has, like, with an added bonus of a good script is what I mean. So yeah, that's my pick is Rolling Thunder, 1977, Paul Schrader, classic, cult classic that is. But if you like Kill Bill, John Wick, like it is a big touchstone for those filmmakers. But it's a touchstone they don't talk about a lot. So
Yeah.
that's part of the reason that I bring this up, because I initially was going to go for volume 2 of the Kill Bills, but because it's very much a Western.
Right.
But I feel like this was
That would have been good too,
because it's gritty. Like this song is gritty. This movie, it takes the trope of the man coming back home to an unfaithful wife to an nth degree, and what happens after that in terms of femininity and masculinity, the way it addresses those things is very Paul Schrader in the best way. Like if you're a fan of Taxi Driver, I think you owe it to yourself to see this movie. So
I like it. Respect. That's a great pick. I'm gonna have to add that to my list. I wonder if it's on anything. In terms
I'd be
of
surprised if it wasn't on Tubi, to be honest.
Tubi, it's called.
It feels like I have the Shout Factory Blu-ray, like it's that kind of movie. But
it's on Pluto TV it is on Tubi.
Yep, it feels like a Tubi.
It might be on it.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not on.
Is it on Prime?
You need Screen Picks.
John Prime, get it,
bro. I love John Prime.
Might be worth getting the Shout Factory disc though. I bet that looks great. They do
pretty good, man.
They do some great transfers, like better than they should be usually. But
no, their transfer for the thing, like that 4K remaster is pretty dope.
Oh yeah, I bet. That's awesome. All right, Nate, you're up. See if you can top that.
I don't want to go. I'm going home. So the movie I'm choosing doesn't really follow this song lyrically, but one thing I think that really stood out to me about this song is how old country, like it feels like old country from like the 60s, but it's a modern, revamped, better production type situation.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me a lot. And there's one movie that came to mind exactly, like right on the spot. Lyrically, it's not a story about a scorned lover or anything like that, but it's a remake of a classic Western movie. So, and to me, I like Westerns a lot. I wish I'd seen more. This was one of those movies I saw back in high school because it came out in 2010. It is written and directed by the Coen brothers. This is 2010's True Grit. So let me see the trailer.
Actually, I haven't seen this.
What?
Always go backwards when I'm back.
No.
Bro, dude, this movie's good.
You are not LaBeouf.
I mean,
bro,
I like Westerns and I like the Coen bros, so
I'll explain, I guess, more why I thought or why this came to mind. But here's the trailer.
Let's watch that trailer.
When y'all are zeroed out, let me know. I like this movie a lot though, and I think it has so many great performances, and we'll talk more. And I assume Preston and I are gonna talk back and forth on this one.
Yeah.
Would y'all good to go?
Yep.
Mr. Cogburn, in your 4 years as U.S. Marshal, how many men have you shot?
Shot or killed?
Let us restrict it to killed so that we may have a manageable figure.
I'm Rupert Cogburn.
Mr. Cogburn?
What do you want, girl?
What do you want,
I'm looking
girl?
for the man who killed my father. The man's name is Tom Chaney, and I need somebody to go after him.
What's your name?
My name is Maddie Ross.
Oh shit, that's what's her face.
Haley Steinfeld. This is her first role, I think.
I know Chaney. It is at least a two-man job taking him alive.
Marshal Cogburn? Can we depart this afternoon?
We?
I'm going with you.
Congratulations, you've graduated from marauder to wet nurse.
He's being followed.
What do we do, Marshal?
Damon's really good in this movie, too.
You missed your shot, Cogburn.
Best let this go.
I thought you were going to say the sun was in your eyes. That is to say, your eye You got a lot of experience with bounty hunters, do you?
That is a silly question. I am 14.
You can run on for a long time.
Great Johnny
I don't
Cash
like
song
you.
too.
I will not go back, not without Cheney dead or
Johnny
alive.
Cash and Colter Wall are two. Harrison Pod too.
Easily.
Help me, Marshall!
Now what?
Roland is so good in this movie.
Them boys.
This,
don't think
oh
about
my
who
god,
else
this movie is,
about to sit down.
ugh.
Cheney and his gang a rough lot. I do not regret shooting your father.
Jeff Bridges is the fucking man.
I will kill this girl! Biggest mistake you ever made.
Tell 'em that God's gonna cut you down.
Shit, that's a good trailer, man.
It is a very well.
That's one of the best trailers I've seen in a while.
So,
It's
like,
a different time in 2010.
dude, basically. But like the trailer says, and like how the story progresses, it's not about a lover scorned, going after their woman or whatever and getting revenge on that. But they're so, because it's a True Grit is a remake of, it was 1965. Nine. Okay. Movie from 1969 starring John Wayne as Rooster Cogburn. And what I love so much about this Colter Wall song, and probably how the whole record is he's taking those old elements and putting a fresh spin on it. And I think True Grit is an old Western classic from what I can tell, correct? Would you say it's a classic?
Yeah.
Preston?
Yeah, definitely.
Prior to the remake coming out, it was a lot of people would still consider it one of the great westerns.
Okay. So, and the Coen brothers, I think, do a great spin on Western as well. Like, it's shot beautifully. It has that, the motifs of horses and guns and, wide open spaces, but they put their spin on it. And I think that's why I think it equates to this song, Kate McCannon, because Colter Wall's taking those old country elements and giving it his own spin to it and modernizing it. So I think it's a great movie. I really think it's a really good remake. I like the one from the 69 as well with John Wayne. And I really think this one's really good too. Coen brothers are just a masterclass when it comes to like writing and dialogue. There's really not much to explain about them. If you're listening to this and you're somewhat of a cinephile, you know who the Coen brothers are and what amazing movies they've put out for us to enjoy.
Fargo,
Inside Llewyn Davis, No Country for Old Men. Oh gosh, yeah, Fargo.
Raising Arizona, Miller's Crossing,
Big Lebowski, Oh Brother.
Yeah, Oh Brother.
Honestly, I think Inside Llewyn Davis is my favorite Coen brothers. That or No Country. I really love Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yeah.
Preston, you're the Western head here. What do you think of this True Grit remake? What do you feel about it?
I'm a fan. I'm a pretty big fan. I love the film. I love the original as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it defies something I typically say about remakes and reboots and etc. Where why remake a great film? We can just remake a bad one, make it better. My favorite movie of all time, Ocean's 11, is a remake of a bad film, where Steven Soderbergh and George Clooney both, at the time that the remake first came out, they were like, they faced criticism. Why would you remake a classic? And it's like, that movie's only a classic because of the Rat Pack. You watch it, they're forgetting lines. They left a lot of stuff from the first take in the movie. There's continuity errors. It's a pretty shitty film that just happens to have money and movie stars behind it. Right. And of course, the remake is to me phenomenal. I'm biased.
It's great. No, that's a great movie, man.
Well, speaking of remakes with Matt Damon, LOL.
That's right. That leads
me to my point about True Grit. The Coen brothers, they had a gripe with a long time because they were big fans of the Charles Portis novel True Grit, which is considerably darker than what you would typically get in a John Wayne movie.
Right.
there's exceptions. Like there's a Searchers, which is still, I think, his best performance out of the
By
movies I've seen.
far.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Far.
No.
I was like, easily.
Look, like that's.
I'd agree with Levi. Yeah, I'd agree with Levi.
I'm not a big John Wayne guy for the most part, but
you don't whip your dick out when you hear John Wayne, the manliest man.
The Searchers is awesome. It's just,
Searchers is really fucking good.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And the original True Grit is really great, but it feels like it comes from an era where America was still struggling to catch up with what Italy was doing.
Yeah.
Which is why in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, for example, there's the whole joke in the first act where DiCaprio was telling Brad Pitt, "Have you ever seen an Italian Western? They're horrible." And of course, he goes, in order to have his career survive, he goes and makes those Italian Westerns, spaghetti Westerns. Right. True Grit, the remake, is where the Coen brothers were like, "Hey, like we won our Oscar with No Country. We've got out A Serious Man. We made Burn After Reading. We've made these weird, quirky movies after our big Oscar hit. Let's go back to making mainstream filmmaking. Let's do what we did with Oh Brother Where Art Thou, except
God, A Serious Man is so good too. Holy crap! Sorry.
Yeah. They're an interesting pair for sure. And True Grit, I think, is one of their best movies because they're working from one of the great classic Western stories. What they do, in contrast to the original, is that they take what works best about their best films, which is their dialogue. The fact that they're able to spin such dark content into such absurdly funny, quotable situations.
Rooster Cogburn is unhinged in this fucking movie.
Oh yeah, and even in the first scene where you meet Rooster Cogburn, when he's sleeping next to a guy smoking opium, passed the fuck out, and still in his hand, and that's classic Coen Brothers humor. But the movie doesn't neglect heart, and nor does it neglect the grit, no pun intended, of Coen Brother period pieces.
Right.
You see all that in True Grit. Haley Steinfeld. I mean, Nate alluded to this earlier, but it was like her star-making role. It was definitely the first role I ever saw of her.
I want to say that was her. No, it is not.
I think it was, because after that, like I'm a fan of Steinfeld. I think she's made a lot of really good, entertaining movies.
Yeah.
I would argue that Bumblebee is the best Transformers movie.
Right, bro. She's so good in that. I was about to bring that up, dude. That's a good movie.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
No, Bumblebee. I don't care what anyone says. Bumblebee is what that series should have been from the get-go.
Agreed. Bumblebee is great.
I like Michael Bay, but he is not a PG-13 guy. Bumblebee is what that series should have been. Going back to True Grit, though, I think Damon gives one of his best performances. Nate knows this about me. I'm a Damon guy. I love Damon. I think he's one of the rare movie stars who has underrated range, who still makes entertaining movies that your dad watches when he's on the couch with a beer belly.
Right.
Saturdays.
Right.
He operates a very unique nexus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's great as LaBeouf. I think he's way better than Glenn Campbell is in the original film, by far. I think Jeff Bridges gives the best male performance of that year, by far. I think he's way better than John Wayne, as iconic as Wayne is in that role.
Well, Wayne's we don't laud Wayne as a great actor. He was just a presence, he was a force. Tour de force type.
What'd you say, Pilgrim?
You got me. Take me out back now.
And there's two other performances I want to highlight. Barry Pepper from Saving Private Ryan. He's in the movie for a little bit. He's phenomenal.
He's Lucky Ned, right?
Yeah. And Josh Brolin is the big heavy
Tom Chaney,
who doesn't come in until much later in the movie.
Yeah.
But he's on all the posters. He was in the trailers, as we just saw. A lot of the marketing.
He's an imposing force. Yeah.
Yeah. When literally, like, it's one of those Blade Runner 2049 situations where they keep talking about Deckard, and then when Deckard shows up, your dick shrivels back in your ball sack, and it's like, ooh, this is why Harrison Ford's a legend.
Yeah. When
you see Josh Brolin, and sorry for making so many phallic references tonight, guys, literally, you're like, whoa, this is why Brolin's a legend, because he milks that role for all it's worth.
He's so good.
He is not the Chaney. He's not the Chaney the original. He is his own thing. That's why I think this is such a great pick, because, like Nate said, the Coen brothers made this a Coen film. And from the music from I believe Carter Burwell, excuse me, Roger Deakins on the lens, like doing his thing.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Roger Deakins at all.
And that's why it looks so beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal movie. I've seen it several times. I think I need to rewatch it actually, but I think it's awesome. I think it's
been a little while since I've seen it, probably maybe 8 years, and I need to rewatch it. It's so good. And
backing up.
Cogburn is he's so unhinged, but Jeff Bridges is so funny in it. You know, it's it's very good, very good movie. I'd recommend Levi.
I definitely, it's been a blind spot for a long time, and I really need to correct that for sure. So it's especially after seeing that trailer.
And isn't Carter Burwell? He's like the Coen brothers' go-to when it comes to scores, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's worked with them all the way back to like.
Wasn't he on Fargo? I think he did Fargo.
I believe he was on Fargo.
Let's pull him up.
Oh Brother's different because that's the soundtrack. I think that's T-Bone Burnett orchestrating.
Oh yeah, he was there from Blood Simple. He was there.
Oh shit! Okay.
He was there since Blood Simple.
That's in my top 3 of theirs. To be honest, I love Blood Simple.
I've never seen it, but I love Raising Arizona. That one.
It's a classic.
So good.
Yeah.
Hear that? Really that's our code names.
Well, that's my pick. I'm gonna.
All right, I'll stop.
No, you're good, man. I'm gonna go with True Grit, the 2010 remake.
Great pick.
It's my pick.
I think. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I mean, Preston and I were.
I'll believe y'all.
I think it's great.
It's very good.
I'll definitely believe y'all. I'm struggling right now because there's a few that I could pick. I thought about The Gunfighter for a half second. Didn't ultimately go with that, but I do love that movie. Gregory Peck is amazing in it.
Levi recommended that movie to me. And no, literally, like, and I told him the story, and I don't think Nate knows the story. So the night James Gunn's The Suicide Squad dropped, because Levi, I think that was the summer that a Criterion sale was happening, and so I was like, "Hey, man," and we were trading Rex. We were like, "Hey, dude, where are you buying?" And he was asking me what I was buying. He was like, "Dude, there's this good movie called Gunfighter that's just a dark western with Gregory Peck. That's all I'm going to tell you. You've got to watch it." And I was like, "Man, I do like me some Gregory Peck.
He's a good actor.
Way better than John Wayne. Don't quote me on that."
Oh yeah, if John Wayne was in that movie, it'd be such a terrible movie.
Dude, honestly. We're behind you on the Wayne slander, bro. So we're behind you on this one, bro.
I don't hate John Wayne. I'm just like, there's other Western heroes, guys.
Yeah, right. But, well, yeah, that exactly. There are so many better. But yeah, continue, Preston.
So I watched The Suicide Squad for the first time, like the day it dropped on HBO Max in my living room. I loved it. Then I was like, I want to watch another manly movie, but I want to watch a more serious one. And then I look up The Gunfighter and I see that it's on Tubi. So not only did I watch it once that night and I fell madly in love with The Gunfighter, but like I watched it again the next morning.
Oh, wow.
That I was like during work. Like I loved it that much. Then I went out and bought the Criterion like that weekend. Like I fucking love The Gunfighter. It is
okay.
Yeah, no, it's 80 minutes. It's tight.
Yeah, it's super
Gregory
quick.
Peck is great. Millard, I believe it's Millard Mitchell. He's in Singing in the Rain. He's in The Naked Spur with Jimmy Stewart. He's in a lot of movies from that time. So
yeah.
Not in 1950. He's also great in the movie. And then it's shot like a noir.
Yeah.
Like it's very murky. Like it should be murky, but it's like it's very shadowy. It's very stark blacks and grays, and it fits the tone very well. It's just a good ass movie.
Nate, you need to watch it.
Yeah, it's down on the list.
88 minutes, easy. Gregory Peck is Gregory Peck.
I mean, he's
literally nothing. Yeah. And he plays a character who's just sick. Like he's the best in the West, and it's literally a curse. Like he goes from town to town. No one wants anything to do with him, even though he doesn't want to even be that anymore. and everybody.
And there's a wife subplot with as well with him.
Yeah. And it's great. But that's not my pick. No. Yeah. Another movie that I was bouncing back and forth from that also isn't my pick is One-Eyed Jacks, which Preston, you still haven't seen that. And I've been trying to get you to watch that for freaking years.
Only a couple years. Chill out.
If it's more than one, it's too long. It's next Criterion Cell or something. You need to grab that because it's Marlon Brando in a Western. Again, like Gregory Peck. Don't need to say anything else. It's a beautifully shot film too.
That's true.
That's not my pick either. I'm going with something a little newer, released in 2014. I don't think either of you have seen this, but I'd be interested if you did. It stars Mads Mikkelsen, Eva Green, also has supporting cast like Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Jonathan Pryce, as well as a slew of other people. It's called The Salvation.
When he said Mads Mikkelsen and Eva Green, I was like, is he just picking Casino Royale? But I know it didn't come out that year.
No, it's the cast is stacked. It's I believe it's a Danish director.
I was about to ask if it was one of his Danish films because Mads Mikkelsen's non-English language career is phenomenal.
It's an English movie.
So good. The Hunt is like
so good.
Phenomenal movie.
No, Nate, did you see Another Round?
I did not. I need to. I need to because he was nominated for a BAFTA, wasn't he, for that?
And it won Best Foreign Film that year at the Oscars. Dude, it is hilarious.
He's awesome. Amazing. He's just amazing in his non-English roles. He
is. It's because they keep casting him as Lashif. Like,
he's the best Hannibal Lecter on screen.
You think so?
I do. Yeah, I think he's better than Hopkins. I know that's like blasphemous, but I think Mads Mikkelsen is.
I mean that show is incredible.
Hannibal Season 2 is my favorite season of television ever.
Yeah. The whole all of the seasons are amazing.
Yeah, all seasons are great, but season 2 was the best season of television I ever watched live. It was amazing. Yeah.
You know a show's good when like the main executive of the network is like, yeah, we're not really getting the views that we would like to get, but this show is so good, I'm just gonna add an extra season, even though it's not financially viable.
Man. Brian Fuller's fucking man.
Yeah. But anyway, back.
Yeah, I need to jump on that train.
Back to The Salvation. It's an English language film. It's a nice. Danish director, but it's English language. I mean, you have Eva Green, who plays like a smoldering, like kind of femme fatale type character. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is like the villain. And then you have Mads Mikkelsen and what's his name? Mikael Persbrandt, who's a Swedish actor. He's in a lot of things. He's in Sex Ed, if you've ever seen that show on Netflix.
I've seen episodes of that because you recommended it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I love that show. I love that show a lot. But he's in that. And yeah, you have other people that are throughout, but it's really good. It's basically a revenge movie, but I'm going to pull up the trailer.
A Mads Mikkelsen revenge movie. That sounds aggressively like my shit.
It sounds aggressively Dutch or Danish.
Yeah. Well, and they play as Dutch characters too, which...
Did they really? Oh, that's awesome. Mads Mikkelsen's... I'll watch anything that man is in, so...
Or European, at least.
He's phenomenal.
Benedetta starring Mads Mikkelsen.
Well, I guess I'm watching Benedetta now.
All right. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Where's my brother? Mr. Delarue, I can assure you, it ain't nobody from around here.
I will give you 2 hours to find the man that did this.
That's impossible.
Or you bring me 2 of your people.
I'm innocent, please don't!
Let him rest in peace, Princess. I will take care of you now.
And we could use people like you if we're ever gonna face that murder. Aren't you 2 soldiers back where you came from?
I need a revolver, a holster, and some ammunition for my Winchester.
Did you ever fight in the war?
I did.
Who was the enemy?
Germans. You have my respect. You know, we've been hoping, praying for someone like you to come along, save us from our misery.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, so this movie is basically Mads Mikkelsen and his brother immigrate to the American West after a war, the Second Schleswig War in 1864. In Denmark, they immigrate over to the American West, and 7 years later, so they get there early to basically create a life for their families who come later. 7 years later, his wife and kid come to the land of which he like purchased and, you know, built up. And on the stagecoach ride to the place, they get hijacked basically, and he gets kicked out. His wife and kid are killed, maimed, and he catches up too late, but he's able to kill them, right? Turns out those guys are, or at least one of them is the brother to like the big bad of the area, you know, who has the whole town like in fear, right? And that the town usually just, you know, they let them do their thing as long as they can stay safe, whatever, inside the confines of the town. And then he's like, all right, well, you gotta find this guy, because or we're gonna start like killing innocents and stuff. And that's basically the premise of the movie. And
so I will say that sounds aggressively like my shit. Like, holy fuck.
You need to watch it.
I'm definitely I'm going to watch One Eye Jacks first, because I want to actually talk to you about it next time we're on this podcast.
You do. I'm gonna be mad if you keep putting that off.
You're like, bro, why is this man watching Great Expectations?
Right.
Why the fuck is he watching One Eye Jacks?
I'm gonna comment on every single movie that you post on Letterboxd until you watch one. It's like, why isn't this One Eye Jacks? Why isn't this one?
I'm in the middle of, I keep telling you, I'm in the middle of like a British movie phase, like for the time being.
I can tell.
Like,
Just you having a good time over there, bud.
Hey man, I love David Lean, man.
David Lean's the shit. Great Expectations is actually like a pretty good movie. It's just
yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say about it. That's all.
Yeah, who willingly does that to themselves?
This guy.
Ouch. Who has 2 thumbs and and a tank. This guy. No, but yeah, I'm such a dude, bro. Night guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
you're good.
That trailer looks awesome. I love the cast. I love Eva Green. I wish her career would have popped off more.
Yeah.
Than it did in the mid 2000s, mid to late 2000s. I think she got typecast a lot for her looks and not enough for her talent, which she clearly has a lot of.
She's wonderful in this too.
Yeah, no, it looks fantastic. I love Mads Mikkelsen. It wasn't until I heard recently that he's actually a big Western head. So to hear that he actually did a Western after being such a fan of his work. I'm not a Mads expert, but
right.
The movies of his that I've seen, including Casino Royale, are phenomenal. So yeah, I'm in, and I think he's a good villain in Doctor Strange too.
Yeah.
As well. So Doctor Strange, 2, not Doctor Strange
right.
2.
TOO.
Yeah. The second one was ass, guys. Sorry. Like I know it has defenders.
I have no. I don't even have a desire to watch.
You're not missing.
Yeah. But Mads is amazing in this. Jeffrey Dean Morgan makes an amazing villain. Eva Green plays the widow to Jeffrey Dean Morgan's brother. So her husband is the guy that, killed Mads' wife in the movie.
Now, Levi, I have to ask you, like, just a question.
Sure.
Like, in all seriousness, like, I know that like nihilistic film isn't like your bag sometimes. Would you describe this as like dark, but with a lot of catharsis? Like, what kind of tone would you? Because I would say True Grit is probably the most fun appearance-wise of any. And I've seen True Grit, and it's way more fun than my pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this, so I can't 100% remember. I remember really enjoying it, but in terms of nihilism, I don't remember feeling like, I don't know, there's just a particular feeling with certain, like, for example, the Joker movie. Like, I left the theater being like, ugh. I didn't mind the movie. I really didn't. But like when you're
Nate's face.
I was not a fan.
When you're just
I think I just went in that movie like with a horrible mindset because there's a bunch of incels and like neckbeards that were like lauded, like they were loving it. And I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
This man said neckbeards.
This is fucking incel.
The same guys that were like praising Joker hated Prey, and that's all you get.
I just can't get over that, man. It freaks me out.
I honestly didn't mind the movie. I thought it was a fine movie, but it was so dour that I never want to watch it again.
It's a bummer city movie.
Yeah, and
wait, it's Levi. Have you seen Taxi Driver?
No.
You haven't seen Taxi Driver?
Shit. That's why you thought it was fine. That's why. Holy fuck. Well, fuck my pick. Watch Taxi Driver instead.
Yeah, no, Taxi Driver's gotta go first. Sorry, I've never seen Rolling Thunder, but Taxi Driver's like top tier.
I mean, I've been aware of Taxi Driver enough to where I even knew that it like Joker tagged it. Like Taxi Driver is one of those movies that's just been in the collective consciousness for so long that
rightfully so.
It's why I haven't watched it. Like it's just like, I pretty much get the gist. So, but
talking to me.
Yeah, this movie I have a desire to watch it again. I feel like you get the payoffs that you need in order for it to be a revenge movie that's satisfying. Yeah,
because you want your revenge movies to be satisfying. You want to see them motherfuckers get it.
Right. And Mads is just, he has the charisma and he just shows his
he's
anger. Yeah. He's just really good. And I really do love the man who plays I really don't know how to say his name.
Mikael
Pesbrandt. Mikael Pesbrandt.
Mitchell Preston.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if you say it fast enough.
Mitchell Preston.
Yeah, he's a Swedish actor. He is he has a lot of charisma too, and he always has like something behind his eyes, like almost like he can like emote with his eyes without changing his face, kind of thing.
Bro, eye acting is so hard to do.
Yeah. And
like even Charles Dance in The Last Action Hero, what he's doing in that movie is very difficult to do.
Right.
In all seriousness, without irony, like I mean that. Like, so yeah.
Look at the link I just sent you of just his it's his Wikipedia page and just the picture.
Oh my god, he's got really pretty eyes. What the fuck?
Just look into those eyes.
Oh god.
And there's something back there, and it's kind of the Jack Nicholson effect that I've talked about in the past, where Jack Nicholson does this thing where whenever he's acting, he's really good at making you feel like he knows something that you don't know. And it's very, very like, it's just interesting. And you
now Miss Mulray,
right.
I like my nose.
Right.
Someone cut it up, and I don't really like it. I like my nose.
I love it. That movie was so good. I'm so mad I waited so long to watch that, but man. Oh, yeah. Chinatown, Nate. If you haven't seen Chinatown, watch Chinatown.
It's on the list. Who is he?
Bjorn.
Yeah, I don't remember, to be honest, I don't remember much about any of the Hobbit movies, but
I just remember I had my head between my knees during like halfway through the second one because they were in that spider forest.
Oh,
I had my head like right between my knees because we watched that. I watched that in theaters, and I was like, "Well, bye, guys."
Yeah, no, I know you're not a spider guy. That's why, like, I'm like, maybe you shouldn't watch The Incredible Shrinking Man.
That's why I was surprised that Nate, you picked Enemy. I didn't know you could have made it through
that
Enemy.
That scene freaks me out every time. I'm like, I hate this, dude. I can't even watch like the Shelob scene in Return of the King like at all.
So good,
and it's really like, well done, bro. But I just can't. It like makes my skin want to like crawl off my body and like. Yeah.
Well, Peter Jackson was a horror director before
Lord of the Rings. Frighteners and fuck. What is that?
Dead Alive? Is it Dead Alive? Or?
Shit, what is it? I know what it's called. I saw it because freaking Junk Food Cinema recommended it.
Yeah. No, Dead Alive is Toby Hooper. I'm trying to think. I'm trying not to look it up.
No, maybe.
You find it.
My bad to derail topic. Levi. I started doing
Frighteners is really good. Though.
Nicholson.
Frighteners
really is.
I think it's not Meet the Feebles. I think it's Bad Taste.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That movie's a fucking trip. And I saw that. There's some movies from Junk Food Cinema horror-wise, like Housebound is really good. That was a horror movie they recommended.
Check that out.
And Dare Samurai was really good too. Was another one they recommended a while back, and that one was a fucking trip too. Sorry, back to this movie looks great, Levi. This movie looks fucking awesome.
It's good. The Observer said that the film tips its Stetson to John Ford and Sergio Leone with bold widescreen visuals, daytime shots in which the sun looks sun-baked, and prairie nightscapes resembling ink-soaked denim.
I can definitely see that for sure. Yeah, it looks like a very traditional Western in terms of the way it's composed, which I like, and I think it works after True Grit because True Grit is being a Roger Deakins canvas, like. All the compositions are so elegantly composed, and it looks like this is the same way. Especially, like Scandinavian genre film in general is something that doesn't get talked about a lot.
Yeah,
I was shout out to my friend Sarah LeGros, who may be listening to this. Shout
out Sarah.
I went on a huge rant to her like a few weeks ago about how Scandinavian film noir doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah,
like Stellan Skarsgård is in the original Insomnia that Nolan remade, and he's also in In Order for Disappearance, which Cold Pursuit with Liam Neeson is a remake of, and those are both terrific noirs from that area. But yeah, I will check this out probably after I see One Eye Jacks.
Yeah,
it's definitely on my list.
Yeah, I definitely think you would dig this. Jeffrey Dean Morgan just plays a great villain. And yeah, it's just a classic revenge movie. It's 92 minutes, so it's an easy, breezy,
If you would have said 3 hours of Matt Mikkelsen just looking at Eva Green, I would still watch the fuck.
Yeah, dude, and I mean, Eva Green has that like scar across her lip too, which somehow like makes her look like that combined with her piercing green eyes is like just spells like femme fatale. Like she's like scary but alluring at the same time, and it's a really cool dynamic. So she's great.
She would make a great She-Go. I'm kidding.
I don't even know what She-Go is.
No, what is that?
Kim Possible?
Oh,
Nate's like, I'm evolved.
Yeah.
I watch SpongeBob, bro. That ain't evolved.
Yeah.
No, that was fancy compared to Kim Possible. Listen.
Well,
oh my god, that's funny.
This was a pretty good episode. I mean, we got a Western through line, I guess. Revenge through line. Would you say it's more of a revenge through line? Because your movie isn't necessarily a Western, even though it is kind of Westerny looking.
Yeah, it's
no,
set in
I'd say
Texas.
revenge. I'd say revenge through line because in True Grit, Haley Steinfeld's character is trying to get revenge for her father's death. I think revenge.
So
would be
Revenge Week.
She's amazing in that movie.
I think she was like 14 or 15 when they did it, which is like even more impressive.
She was young.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
She proved herself. Well, I mean, Preston, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to shout out, talk about, places people can find you, so on and so forth?
Sure. First off, I just want to thank you to handsome gentlemen for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Continuing to have me be,
of course,
an honorary member of Soundscape Crusaders. I love chatting with you guys about movies and music and everything in between. Speaking of things in between, I am the third leg. So
you did it. We didn't have to.
No. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at PRESTO MIT or Letterboxd, where I'm logging movies I'm watching that are not One-Eyed Jacks. PRESTO _ MITCH. As far as podcasts that I'm on, I just recently did a podcast I went back on Cobwebs, where myself, Daniel Epler, and Carmelita Valdez McCoy, we each collaborated on a massive Lawrence of Arabia discussion. It was the host's first time ever seeing the movie. And myself, and the other person, like, we were literally lifelong fans of it. So it was a real labor of love to get to chat about what I think is one of the finest films ever made. And then, as I talked about earlier, I went back to Shock and Awe, and this episode, by the time this episode is released, it should be out by then, where I spoke about Prisoners, the Denis Villeneuve film, in a double feature with J. Lee Thompson's 10 to Midnight. 10 to Midnight is a very, very schlocky film, which I don't talk about a lot, but I really love the lead actor in that movie. I love the fact that it's Chuck Bronson chasing down a naked serial killer in 2 hours from the director of Cape Fear. So, and the Guns of Navarone. So yeah, definitely check that episode out. It was really cool to dig into two very different but interesting filmmakers. Yeah, like if you guys ever want me back, just let me know.
Oh, anytime, man. We are. I mean, this will be released on the last week of August.
Yeah.
So now's a pretty good time to. I don't think we've announced it yet.
We have
on
not.
Any of the other episodes, but starting in September, throughout September until September ends, we are doing a themed month called When September Ends, and that is a tribute to rock, emo, punk from the aughts, early 2000s, mid 2000s. And we're going to be covering all kinds of stuff, and we're super excited to share that. Nate, anything else you want to add about that?
Bro, I'm so hyped.
Yeah, this is a very special topic for you, I feel like, especially.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all better
really
talk about Vindicated.
Dude, I honestly think that opening week episode, I think, is going to be pretty damn good, so.
Yeah, no. It is. So far, I think we've recorded
3 of them.
3 of them, yeah, because we're going back for this episode. This episode's recorded a little later.
Be the last of it. But which will be good because it'll be 2 back-to-back country songs. And it'll be good to get that genre kind of talked about as well. Went a while.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter @Sound Crusaders or Instagram and TikTok @Soundscape Crusaders. Until next time.
I ain't got time to bleed.